Yeah, so um, all I wanted to come up here, and say is that I've been having issues in the sense that, you know, um, just let me get around to it, to actually getting to her so that I can actually show you. Our actual, biggest supporter and fan, and the person that we love the most in this miserable world, has basically had her fucking YouTube account destroyed for nitpicky reasons. Basically, like, nothing really all that special. Like, for instance, maybe inappropriately applied tags 11 fucking years ago in order to drive more traffic to the station. And it's been silly, stupid bullshit reasons for running her off, and yet our board queen Susan, from who, by the way, isn't even American by birth, woo, as basically tolerating the existence of the takeover of this particular platform, like, by Steven Crowder, and all these people, like, tolerated the existence of people like white nationalists and Holocaust deniers, and a whole host of truly deplorable characters are basically and hey, Ruka too, the white nationalist bitch queen that she ultimately is. No, we're gonna put up with her, but the one person that's actually a decent person, we're gonna run her off over incredibly minor issues. So I wanted to, since this particular platform is actually owned by Google, I want to act as a virus against Google to show you all just how much data Google collects. Shit. So let's look and see, how much data that Google is actually, with their little spyware applications, are actually getting from you. Not just Gmail, not just that, but every product that this particular company uses and tracks with you, they track you on your emails, they track you on your location, they spy on your email, they check the purchases that you actually make, they check they keep the record of the searches that you actually make using Google for pretty much indefinitely. Like, their entire business model is now big data, and not only that, but their web application, it spies on you like crazy. Chrome, look at that. Use Firefox, search with DuckDuckGo in particular, or SearchX, or a search engine that actually respects privacy. SearchX is really awesome, especially since it's really good at finding files and doesn't actually fucking have to respond to DCMA takedowns. This is just absolutely fucking crazy. Like, I mean, I know that ultimately, that Google, I know that ultimately, like, other search providers aren't necessarily going to be ultimately, like, better, but, they, at least with DuckDuckGo, like, this is, a pretty faithful, representation of what's going on. I mean, look at this. Google tracks your location, your search entry, your browsing history, your data usage, your location, your contact info, your search history, your browsing history, your identities, your product interaction, advertising data, your location, your contact info, your contacts, your users, audio data, customer support, other users' content, search history, browsing history. It's just all through analytics. But user ID, device ID, product interaction. Like other data types. Product personalization, location, contact info, user content, search history, browsing history, usage data, app functionality, financial info, payment info, precise location, course location, contact info, email addresses, name, phone number, contacts, user content, photos, videos, audio data, customer support, other users' content, search history, browsing history, all this on and on and on. And do you know what DuckDuckGo collects? And this is just, that's Google Chrome, that's Google Search itself, and all the information that Google and their products basically keep on you. So switch off of Google Chrome onto Firefox, Google and the DuckDuckGo. Do you know the data that DuckDuckGo permanently links to you? Nothing. Their company, like up there at Google, it's big data. Now, basically, their whole business model depends on being spyware. So let's move, our emails. Gmail spies on you. This is a company that, the terrifying amount of data Gmail collects on iPhones. Google has finally revealed the terrifying amount of data apps like Gmail and YouTube can collect from iPhone and iPad. Google started submitting app privacy labels for some of its iOS apps after facing criticism that it postponed app updates to delay implementing mandatory iOS 11 privacy features. Both Gmail and Google and YouTube collect plenty of users' data for different purposes, including information used for third-party advertising options. Apple's new iOS privacy feature sent shockwaves through the advertising industry last fall when they started rolling out. Apple will not stop advertisers from tracking users across the web and services. The company will now force its developers to indicate all the personal data an app can collect and the purposes for said data collection. iPhone and iPad will also force developers to ask for permission to track users across apps and services. Facebook's massive attack on Apple in mid-December has proved that the privacy changes are a big deal for companies that make money off of highly personalized ads. These ads are based on the data that allow Facebook, Google, and others to collect about them in return for free access to their services. It's kind of like the trade-off that works in the tech industry, but users might not be aware of the tech and scope of data they give third parties access to. That's where Apple's app privacy labels in iOS come in handy. Gmail and YouTube's privacy labels. Unlike Facebook, Google did not make a big deal about Apple's privacy features, but the company did delay updating its iOS app for well over a month. Those updates are finally coming in, with the major iPhone apps like YouTube and Gmail having just received the major updates in several weeks. Unsurprisingly, there's a massive amount of information that Google can collect from its iPhone users. As with Facebook's privacy labels, Google's label indicates that its apps will collect plenty of user data for several purposes. This includes third-party advertising, analytics, product personalization, app functionality, and the most annoying one, other purposes. These also contain other data type selections that suggest that apps can collect even more information than what they already disclose. The following comparison shows that Gmail and YouTube do not collect the same information for advertising purposes. YouTube hoards plenty of additional information compared to Gmail. All that data is used for Google to sell better targeted ads and bring in more revenue. However, Google says that it doesn't share any of its data with advertisers, and that's true. Google doesn't hand others this personal information, but it allows companies to target specific categories of users with specific types of ads. Google's Smart Compass Smart Reply could be powered with this data to help. again, there's no problem with Google and Facebook collecting all that data. Also, iOS will not stop any developer from tracking tracking users as long as its apps obey its privacy rules. The apps have to list the data they collect, and they have to ask for permission to do that tracking. However, these privacy labels could help users make more informed decisions about what sort of information they're willing to allow apps to collect. To see the app privacy labels for any app, you have to head to the App Store with the app in some questions and look for the app privacy section, and the information on the desktop store listings. Here's YouTube's app privacy section, and here's Gmail's app privacy. Google will, here you go, make Gmail automatically. This is just, it's insane, and so I have been gradually, shifting over to Proton Mail, and, obviously I don't have the opinion that, Proton Mail is necessarily completely secure, unhackable stuff. I'm not, saying totally rely on Proton Mail or anything, because of the fact that, nothing, usually in the tech space, nothing's, completely bulletproof, obviously, but, I have been shifting off using Gmail. I've been doing more and more searches with DuckDuckGo, and I've come on here to encourage you all to do the same, because this is about, the fact that this particular platform tolerated Onisan, it tolerated, Steven Crowder, it tolerated all these bitch queens, so let's fucking burn it the fuck down.